Hello and welcome to the REL10F weekly recap. I am Chaos Blue.
And I am NinjaPirateAssassin.
And together we are doing the recap for that place that I just said. Let's look at the games from this week. Starting, of course, with the Exqueakables versus the Thompsons. And the Rats won against the Humans.
Not surprised the Rats won. A little surprised by the score, though. 1-0 is kind of a low-scoring game for an early Rat team with no real threat.
And 2 10 movement players.
And it definitely looks like the Rats got in way more blocks than the Humans did, 39-28, which makes the score even more surprising because that implies that the Rats had pretty decent control.
The Humans got more armor breaks, but they did suffer a death and an expulsion. The death was a lineman, so nothing important, but it would have freed up space on the pitch.
Yeah, well, and looking at the casualties, the Humans suffered an extra KO and 2 extra injuries not inflicted by the Rat. Whether that was surfs or trips or what.
What this feels like to me is that the Exqueakables just didn't feel like stealing the ball from the Humans on their half. They went, I don't need to take the ball, so I'm just going to stop you from scoring.
Yeah, well, it's really hard for early Rats before you get your sacker built up to even have good shots at the ball. I mean, you're looking at 4+, 5+ cage dives into maybe not having, like, wrestle strip is basically the minimum before you'll attempt it, and I don't think he's there yet, so.
Yet he is not. He did get a level up on one of the plus move gunners, though, so, we're not going to look at what he leveled up, but I'm just saying, he got one.
Yeah, not much SPP on the side of the Humans. MVP went to a loner, and he got 2 injuries on, I think that's one of his blitzer.
Yeah, looking at this SPP line, and it makes more sense to me why he only scored once. I mean, if I'm getting 17 SPP, I'm not going to be too upset about that. It could have been more, though.
But it could have been 20. Not knowing the state of the game, it's hard to say, but in my head, it probably should have been 20.
Like, I just have to imagine that the Rats just could not get the ball loose from the Humans. Or at least they couldn't recover it.
Storm Vermin MVP, that's what you want to see. You want to get those guys some easy levels however you can. He needs a touchdown, though. You should probably consider getting him a touchdown somehow. Just saying.
Sounds like good advice. Okay, let's move on. Next up, we have Meat Squad versus Big Ma's Blitzers, and this is a draw.
I think this might be our first one, yeah?
Yeah, this division has had hardly any draws, which is kind of unusual, but I like it. It makes it exciting.
Only 28 blocks for the Lizards in this game, which, as I recall, they came in down their Crocs again and maybe even down a Saurus on top of that.
Oh yeah, the Crocs got armor busted, didn't it?
Yeah, so I believe it was out this game. So, because normally I would expect this block dice, especially this early in the season, to probably be reversed. Because the Chorfs don't have, I think they have 1 guard, which means that your Sauruses should be getting a lot of natural 2 dice. But when you are playing down a couple of Sauruses,
it's a little harder.
It's kind of limited in what you can do.
Yeah, sometimes a lizard coach will just come along and then their Crocs will forever be dying. It's happened a few times. It seems like the Big Mouth Blitzers might be another team where that is the case.
Whole lot of SPP on that one Saurus to get him a level. That's a nice takeaway for the Lizards out of the drop.
Yep, it is.
MVP on the loner Hobgoblin that you're probably not going to buy is less great for the Chorfs.
It definitely is. Oh.
But it looks like they spread out the rest of their SPP.
Mhm. It does look like it, and they only took the only perm they. Wait, I need to double check that. No, okay. They only took perms on skinks, and one of them was even a loner skink. So no real damage of note for either of these teams. Okay, next up we have Hella's Kitchen, who won versus the Thunderous Puffins. And I mean, I think I remember I called this one.
You did, and so interesting things of note: the High Elves outblocked the Norse, 49-40.
Okay.
The High Elves succeeded 3 passes in this game.
But how many passes did they attempt?
Something went wrong. Something had to have gone wrong somewhere.
They attempted.
The stat line to me suggests the other direction than the game actually went.
Okay, well, the dice show that they had 6 successful pass rolls and 3 failures. The Elves, that is. Sorry, no, that was catch. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Pass. They had 1 failed pass. And I guess that pass just is... I guess that was the important one. They did get a lot of SPP.
No removals really on either side. They both only lost 1 and 2 players respectively, so they played most of this game at full strength.
Mm-hmm.
So they must have got bogged down without being able to remove the Norse. Obviously, they were throwing a lot of punches, so they were basing and bashing quite a bit. But still, would have expected you to be able to score out of that as Elves. Really, your problems for Elf scoring come when you start losing a bunch of players and can't maintain a position.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they must have 1 in 36 to pass to score or something like that.
That seems possible, yeah. Or I mean, like, it is... Okay, like... They're High Elves, so maybe... No, they did lose.
They did only have 75% successful dodges.
Yeah, that's not really
all
great.
Edge 4, so that's low. It's not crazy low, but it's lower than the expected value.
That might be we don't know how many of those dodges were like dodge rerolled though. Like that is an inherent flaw with the way that stats are displayed in Blood Bowl 2. I mean, go figure. We found a problem, right? 1 failed dodge in the first half screwed their drive. That is what Incesticide has told us. Wait, no, that is not for this game, is it? Wait, no, sorry. What game are you talking about? You're talking about this one, right? Oh.
I would assume he's talking about this one.
Yeah. Okay, well.
So, yeah, they failed a key dodge on their drive, which stopped the score.
And then they attempted to cage dive against Norse.
Yeah, got into a brawl against the Norse and then just weren't able to pull it out.
I mean, if they were making a lot of cage dive attempting, then that dodge failure rate makes a lot more sense. Let's see. Other than that, I mean, well, actually, I'm very interested in learn more about this game, but I don't think there's too much we can draw from it just from the statistics. So,
yeah, like I said, it's otherwise looked like a pretty even game, so.
So, yeah, okay, yeah, that happens. It's Elves, so don't roll 1, so of course they rolled 1s. Okay, let's look at some teams.
We got one more game to talk about there. So.
Do we? We do too. You know what? It's just, I wanted to look, okay? I'm just excited to look at teams. And a little bit sad to look at this
another
match.
Dead MVP catcher on the Kislev side.
That is why I am sad to look at this match. But you know what?
That's pretty bad.
It is worse than it looks. Because another catcher, the level 3 catcher, also took an armor bust. it is just... It is a Rube Goldberg machine of maimed and killed catchers. 9 successful blocks. I feel like that encapsulates very well just what sort of game this was.
Yeah, I mean, it was already a tough ask. You're playing as Kislev with no bear, so you're fighting uphill against Chaos, who vastly outstrengths you. You've only got the 1 guard. 9 blocks is still very low, but if he was playing defense first and just basically trying to elf screen, he could have been pretty fairly cleared off by halftime, and that would explain this pretty straightforwardly.
Actually, how many KOs? 5 KOs. Yeah.
5 KOs, 3 injuries, and a kill.
Wait.
53 blocks on the other side is an awful lot.
Oh, one of those must have been re-roll, or must have been appoed.
I'm sure something was appoed this game.
Yeah, because I'm just casualties don't line up with the injury stats. Yeah, something must have been. Well, something must have been appoed. This must have been a really brutal game. I feel kind of bad, but also I like seeing that do I like seeing the chaos? No. I cannot say that in good conscience that I liked seeing chaos win. I don't mind seeing it, but I do. My feelings are complex on the matter. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, this was a game in Chaos's favor from the get-go, I feel like. And it looks like, it sounds like Kislev started on defense, got a blitz, and started cage diving early with his lead. And I'm going to go ahead and wager that the cage dives didn't work, and then the resultant punchback just crushed the Kislev team. Which is the downside when you're playing Kislev sometimes, is you see all that leap and you think you should use it all the time, and you can play too aggressive and it'll cost you players.
To be fair,
so that kind of sounds like that might have been what happened.
To be fair, they did actually succeed on 10 out of 12 leaps. So, the leaping I think was actually working out pretty well here. It was everything else that was not. Okay. Let's look at some teams now for real. We will start with the team that I remember. It is the Thompsons. Coached by We Live on a Boat by Terror Lake. There are less players on this team than I remember.
Yeah, they lost at least a lineman, I think, in their previous game.
I would say they lost several.
Well, they started at 11. They lost a thrower that I don't think they replaced. So they might have lost or fired 2 linemen last game.
They do.
Which, as I say, which honestly, as humans, it's fine. Loner linemen are pretty much just as good as your regular linemen, with the added benefit of they get to go on the line of scrimmage and take all of those hits, and you don't care if they die.
They do have some banks saved up, so if they want to hire some positionals, I think we'll be seeing that. I think waiting on the linemen until you need to replace them until your bank is full, is probably the correct thing anyway, because like you said, who cares if a couple linemen are loner? But you do probably care about the positionals.
Yeah, to me it depends on if you want to transition into running catchers or not. There's no point in blowing your bank to get back up to 11 players by just replacing linemen. That doesn't really get you anything. I would, if a lineman pulls an MVP or something, a loner, then buy him. But otherwise, they're just there to die and you don't care. So with 8 players on the team, you could conceivably consider, because a lot of human teams run 1 or 2 catchers. I don't know if you want to run catchers at under 11 players, or if you want to get up to 11 players and then buy your catchers. I don't play humans. I don't know the math on that. But I would agree that once you hit another game or 2, depending on how the winnings roll out, and hit 150 plus winnings, that's when you'll consider buying replacement players.
I think you can definitely get away with one catcher with only 11 players, but more than that, you might struggle a bit. Particularly with the elephant, as it were, is that there's not a whole lot of development here. I mean,
Yeah.
I think this team started with not with it started like this was the rookie team of the division, right?
Yes, this is a 4-game human team.
So in that light, it's not that bad, but it is definitely behind the other members of the division.
Yeah, no, for fresh humans, you got the development where you want it. You got a double on a blitzer who's only 1 SPP from picking up another level. That's great. His next level's probably going to be guard, I would think. Unless you're wanting to do blitzer carrier ball, in which case you give him sure hands.
I think you probably take guard though.
Yeah,
Like
I
on the
think
block
you take
guy.
guard and I think you take guard and run a thrower personally, but again, humans aren't something I play a lot.
Then on this current level up, I'd probably go with a tackle.
Yep, if it's a normal, it's tackle all the way. He's your thumper. You need him to be able to thump more things. I'm a big fan of Mighty Blow Tackle Juggernaut as your blitzer skill levels, assuming normals, and probably in that order.
Yeah, that sounds okay to me for a human.
Yep, and you've got an MVP blitzer. You should try and get him a vanity pass or score a touchdown on him, get him up a level, get a second guard, and then I think you'd be in business, really.
2 guard at this development level is, I mean, I'm not going to say that's all you want. You want more, but it's all you need. At least as humans. You can do a lot with just that.
I think with, like we said, probably tackle on this blitzer, and if you can get guard on the next 2 there in the next game, I think he's going to be looking pretty solid for where he started compared to everybody else.
Then I think I would not buy any players this round, but I would buy next round. Probably you're over 150 in the bank, so that is when I'm going to go, what do I want to buy? I'm buying stuff now.
Opponents are going to matter too, because if you're playing stuff like rats, it's less of a problem to buy up than if you're playing, like if you've got something like chaos or the lizards in your next game. Having those loners to throw into the grinder is great. You don't have to risk your players, and like I said, you don't care if the loners die.
The team is also at 960 TV, so probably it can induce some star power if it wants.
Oh yeah, next game he's gonna have a lot of good choices. He's gonna be down a ton, and it doesn't matter who he's playing against. He's gonna be down a ton with the lineman only being 50k. Yeah, he's
It matters a little bit.
He's going to be in Griff ball territory, probably. Griff or Zug, almost assuredly.
Griff is a little on the expensive side. That is definitely match dependent. I mean, anything is match dependent because this is not the only team that's being beat up. But, like, very bare minimum case, I think there's only one team where you would not be able to induce the chainsaw. Against most of the division, you're probably looking at, well, like I said, Griff or Zug. Those should be the other way around, but you know.
Yeah, well, and so the problem with taking Griff, so Griff is great being strength 4, agi 4, but he's a loner, and you're going to take him to do ball stuff, and the problem with that is the player who's holding the ball is the most likely to be the one to score with it, and you don't want to score touchdowns with Griff because it doesn't do you any. So you've got to be able to get into a position to make that handoff play to the blitzer you want to actually score on, and depending on the matchup and positioning, that can be rough to do because everybody has to potato down the field every once in a while and just hope for the best.
I mean, Griff has 8 movement, sure feet, sprint, blodge. If anyone can do that, it's Griff. But also, you're right. You need to worry about him eating your SBP. It's better to go with someone like say, well, I'm not going to say it's better to go with someone. It is very matchup dependent. But someone like Zug, you have comparatively little worry. But Zug is not great for every matchup, also. So you need to
I
balance it out.
I like Griff as humans against the Agi matchups because it gives you counter Agi 4, it gives you strength 4 to carry with against sacker threats if they don't have strip ball.
Oh,
It gives you counter Agi play. If you're going against a Bash matchup, he can still be really good, but I feel like taking Zug at the cheaper amount, Zug being strength 5, block Mighty Blow, and move 4, I think. Like he,
Zug is a black orc with plus strength, mighty blow, and block.
So he can do a lot for you, especially considering your blitzers tend to be pretty guard heavy as the team goes along. And short of a double sculling a block, he basically does what you want. He's armor 9, he stands there, he takes hits, he throws the occasional mighty blow block, and if he happens to Kaz a couple people, you're not too worried about losing out on that SPP because the removals are nice. But yeah, no, I think we've pretty well covered it with this team. Like I said, I think you're in a pretty decent position here. You're about 2 games out from starting to hit your stride, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, now for the real nail biter. Can I remember the other team we were going to look at today? I want to say Kislev.
No.
Oh.
Chaos Dwarf.
Well, I tried and I was wrong.
What's sad is we went over this 5 minutes before we started.
Well, okay, moving on. This team has 2 level ups.
Yep, this is the team that lost Bull Centaur and was down a blocker. Looks like he's got his blocker now, though. I'm guessing he just picked him up.
And it only played 1 game in the Greenhorn, so it's not much ahead of the human team we just looked at.
And he's got dodge on his Bull Centaur, which is great. It kind of sucks that it's the first level, but I think you still take it.
I think, well...
I think
I
you
don't think you
really
always
need
take it. I think it's okay here, though.
I think you really need to get him break tackle. Really need to get him break tackle. And then he's going to be great.
If you have a developed Chaos Dwarf team, then you should not take dodge on your first level up. But when you're in the full team development phase, it's okay because you are going to get your next level up, and then SPP comes more easily after that. But dodge is a level up that will slow down your leveling if you take it on first. That's true for a lot of players, including the Bull Centaur. Dodge is still fine on a Bull Centaur, but it's something you should be aware of when you take it. That player will take longer to level up, and they won't be as useful as they could be until they do.
Yeah, and it does look like he's trying to score with his other Bull Centaur to try and even out the SPP rather than forcing it on his dodge player, although that may have just been how that particular game happened to go. But I do agree, forcing touchdowns on your Bulls early to get them levels, even if you're not going to carry with them full time, is probably not a terrible idea. And then 1 guard Chorf and a whole bunch of rookies with varying amounts of casualty SPP.
Yeah, you see, this is why I think the team is looking okay, because these Chaos Dwarves are not sitting at 0. That pretty much sums it up, right? Like, probably you want to try and score on Hambone in order to get that first level up there. If you're really just miles ahead for your opponent, maybe just try and score on a Chaos Dwarf blocker. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would bother. But next Chaos Dwarf level up, if it's not a double, I would like to see some Mighty Blow. And then it can just alternate. As you do.
Yeah, that's a little bit matchup dependent too, especially with this div playing against a lot of higher strength bash teams. Guard first makes sense to me in that situation over the Mighty Blow, and even if you wanted to go guard Mighty Blow, I could see why you would do that, and it would make sense to me rather than guard Mighty Blow guard. But I do think probably you're going to want a Mighty Blow player in your first 3. And again, that is assuming no doubles. And the reason why going guard first on a lot of your blockers can come to bite you is if they roll claws a second level, they're a long way from Mighty Blow on their 3rd.
Yep. On most teams, it is usually the correct choice to take guard first. It'll slow down your development, but it makes you win more games. Guard wins games. Mighty Blow, well, when you're fully developed, Mighty Blow wins games, but at this level of development, it doesn't. But Guard does. But with Chaos Dwarves, it's sort of an interesting exception to that, because you can only take Claw on a double, and you don't know what will get Claws. It is often better to alternate between Guard and Mighty Blow. Like, you don't spam Guard at first, but get some of both, because that increases your chances of getting Claw on a player that can use it more quickly. And that's really all there is to that. But it can be pretty important for optimizing the development of your team. So it's something that any Chaos Dwarf coach should have in their mind. Whether they follow through with it or not, they should at least be thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't have any other thoughts beyond that. Take a look at next week's schedule, I think.
Yeah, let's do that. I have one more thought, and that is get Dirty Player on a Hobgoblin. But you know what? It'll happen in its own time. It's not a priority, I suppose. It's a bit of a priority.
He's not going to give touchdowns to the Hobos just to get
Dirty
Player.
Yeah, like, don't feed touchdowns to the Hobgoblins, but also, if you are scoring a Hobgoblin, try to make sure it's the same Hobgoblin so that you can get Dirty Player. Okay, let's look at next week's games. We have the Thompsons versus the Slan FC.
Everybody beat up this game.
I genuinely do not know who has the advantage here.
Kislev's going to be at about 1040 if they don't pick up any player.
That is still more TV than the humans, but not enough for the humans to induce anything other than a babe without going into their bank.
960 for the humans, probably.
Yeah, so that's 80k. I don't think they'll want to use their bank money, so I mean, maybe they will. I don't know.
It would not make sense, I don't think. Yeah, this is gonna be loner ball. I think I give the advantage to the humans here. They've got with the blodge and the 4 block pieces, whereas the Kislev are going to be playing with 1 guard and 1 wrestle. Certainly a game that could go either way, especially if the Kislev's ball aggression goes well, because they're going to be in 3+3+2 die cage dives with their leaps, right? You leap a guard into, you leap your lineman with wrestle, and that's not terrible odds of getting the ball on the ground.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
On the flip side, they've proven that they get punched pretty hard. So
they certainly have. Yeah, like I've said, I think this could go either way. Next we have Primal Concrete Sludge versus the Thunderous Puffins. I want to say High Elves.
Puffins are High Elves. And Sledge is the Chaos.
Yeah, no, I want to say that the High Elves have an advantage.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a rough one. I'm actually inclined to give it to Chaos because of the development. High Elves don't have a sacker, which means I don't think, and they're playing at almost even TV, so I don't know that they have a reliable way to take the ball off of Chaos. And Chaos does have Claw Mighty Blow on at least one of their Beastmen, as I recall. So I think Chaos could take this one. On the flip side, Elf armor and dodges could just all hold and never fail, and then the High Elves will take it 2-1 easily.
Yeah, I mean,
But
no.
for High Elves to take a matchup like this, I feel like you need to be able to one turn or force an earlier Chaos offensive score to give yourself 2 or 3 turns to score on their drive. And I just don't know that they have the pieces to do that right now.
I mean, that's fair, but also they do still have an Agi 5 player, so.
I mean, it's also possible that Chaos just flubs 5 out of their 6 pickups, and that's how the game goes. So there is that.
I've been there.
I think that all things being equal, this is Chaos's match to lose because they've got enough defensive skills. They should be able to just grind their way down, and the problem will come to if they aren't able to get the removals against the elf screen and have to try a little bit of something at the end and fail it, or if High Elves are able to pressure them with their plus Agi and their Blodge players, because I don't think Chaos has a lot of tackle, which is the one big problem. So I could see them getting slowed down, but I don't see really a reliable way for the High Elves to take the ball off of Chaos. So this is one of those games that could go 1-0, where one of the teams just gets bogged down and can't score. Or it could go 2-1 because Chaos forces High Elves into an early score, or High Elves force Chaos into an early score.
Or it could go 1-1.
Or it could go 1-1, where everything just gets bogged down and each team manages to score on their drive, and that's that.
I think that's fair. Next, we have Hell's Kitchen versus Big Miles Blitzers. And I think this is the match where the lack of development on the Elves is really going to start hurting Space Lion.
Yeah, well, interestingly, so Lizards are Downosaurus, but they do now have a pair of Bloxsaurus, so good for them. They got a double on a skink and took Dirty Player.
Oh, I love that, but also that's
The rat coach in me loves it. You take block though. On a double on a skink, you take block.
Maybe sure hands, but usually block.
Yeah, it's like depending on what you're gonna do with them, but it's like 90% of the skink doubles, maybe even 95% of skink doubles and rebel take block there. But I mean, if you want to foul with them, Dirty Player's the way to go. Certainly gives you some insight into the mindset of the coach a little bit there.
It's not optimal, but I cannot say that I hate it. Quite the opposite.
I mean, so you're gonna take Sneaky Get on the next normal, right? You already spent the double on Dirty Player, so there's like that's the only time I would ever take Sneaky.
No, what will happen is the player will die before it levels up again.
Maybe. Skinks can level pretty fast, and their normal problem is that they're terrible after level 3.
Yeah.
But if you give them Dirty Player,
but you don't score on a Dirty Player skink is the thing, right?
Well, not if you have a choice, but you're also often in a position of scoring on whatever skink you're able to score on. That'll be interesting. I definitely think if you level them again, Sneaky Get. It's one of the few times I will ever recommend it. It's a terrible skill to take, but the one place I say take it is when you've taken Dirty Player as a double.
On a stunty player. Because the thing is, Sneaky Get is, even if you have Dirty Player, Sneaky Get is really bad. It is objectively the worst skill in the game. But I mean, you're right. If there's any place you're taking it, it is on a stunty player who already has Dirty Player.
Yeah, as like the other place that I'll take that combination frequently are Underworld Goblins. Similar reason. And what it allows you to do is once you've got a Dirty Player, Sneaky Get, you're just going to foul with them every turn.
But
doesn't matter. You're just going to foul with them every turn.
So much of Underworld Goblins. You have so many better choices.
Yeah, but you have so many of them that after you've got a couple of Wrestle, Sure Hands, Block if you want to go that route, play. Taking a Dirty Player, like I'll take a Dirty Player as a third Goblin who doubles because I don't need 3 Wrestle Goblins.
Goblins? I mean, Underworld has a fouling positional. It's called a Line Rat.
No. Line Rats are core positionals on Underworld. You do not take dirty
Hey,
player
look,
on the line rats.
I'm playing Line Rat this season, and I absolutely agree with you. But also, you are not telling me that a Line Rat is not a fouling positional.
On
I will not
Underworld,
hear
a
it.
line rat is a core 6 player who takes wrestle tackle. He is your sweeper sacker,
I mean,
120%.
let's get real.
You do not foul with line rats on Underworld. I'm sorry, sir. You do not. You foul with the goblin.
Let's get real. Anyway, my idea of a fouling positional is a dirty player, star player I've hired for 60K or less. Anyway, let's move on. The last game is Meat Squad versus the Exqueakables, and I'm pretty sure that the Skaven is going to win this match.
I'm pretty sure the Skaven should win this, but this is a matchup that is rough for Skaven. And the reason is because the Bull Centaurs are sneaky movement 9. Yeah, they've got to sure feed a couple of GFIs in there, but they're pretty reasonable at getting a couple of GFIs out of that. And sneaky movement 9 into an easy 2-die is a problem if you get all of your line rats tied down on all the blockers, which will probably happen.
But on the flip side, the Bull Centaurs do not have tackle, and they do not have block. So they are going to struggle to hit things that matter. And this could be the match where some of those deaths we've been predicting for the Skaven team happen. But I still think Skaven is going to win. I think they will lose a player that they maybe cared about, and they will win.
I think it's going to come down to how well the line rats hold up, because this is still a Skaven team where 2 of their gutter runners don't have defensive skills. And they do have a natural one-turner now with picking up sprint on the leveled movement 10. But he doesn't have block. And honestly, if I'm taking 2 dies as Chorfs against those gutter runners with the bulls, and I roll a 1 and 9, I'm going to take that boat down all day. I don't care if it's a turnover.
I cannot say I would do otherwise.
So, this is a game the Skaven are going to have to be very careful not to get too tied down, because those blockers will just murderize your linemen, and you won't be able to do much about it. And if they're already playing down players, they don't have a full roster, so you're only going to have 11 for the game, and even at 11, I think the Skaven are actually going to be up TV, so you're not getting any inducements. If the Chorfs get a couple 2-3 easy linemen removals, line rat removals, it's going to be rough.
7. Yeah, the Skaven will be up TV.
Yeah, because all it's going to take. So I'll tell you how these kind of games have gone for me in the past. Turn 1, you lose 3 line rats on the 4 hits you get. And now you're forced to put your blitzers into defensive positions to protect your gutter runners, and you're playing on your back foot the rest of the half. As the blitzes slowly pile up, and as you slowly lose more pieces, now you're worried about either playing your gutter runners so far back so that the blockers don't have a shot at them, that they're basically out of the play, or leaving them in a position where a good set of moves allows the blockers to have a shot at them, which is the absolute last thing you want. Now, the bonus is that you don't have any Mighty Blow that you're dealing with. The downside is your Armor 7. That often doesn't even matter. I have had games where I have been pitch cleared by no Mighty Blow teams on 26 or 28 blocks even. It happens. So I'm just saying, this is a game the Skaven have to be careful. It looks like an easy game because it's a Chorf team with basically no skills, but this is a trap game.
Okay, then.
I still think the Skaven win it off the natural one-turner, but...
Yeah. I think we're on the same page, more or less. I wanted to make one more comment about star players, but unfortunately, the Meat Squad is going to be just too high in TV, or the opponent's just too low, I suppose. Either way, the TV difference is not going to be quite big enough for me to start pimping the fun star players. So
I don't even know who the Chaos Dwarves
Chaos Dwarves have a lot of good star players. But in this case, I was looking at Mad Eye and Nobla. But it's not quite there. It's not quite there. Yeah, I think we're done. Is there anything else we should do? Or
No.
okay.
I do believe that's it for this round. We will be having a 2-week round coming up for Christmas. I don't think we've decided which round that's going to be yet. But just as an FYI, there will be one of these next couple of weeks is going to be extended to 2 weeks to cover the fact that Christmas and New Year's are a thing.
Well, it's not this week, so it will almost certainly be next week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will be next week. So starting the 19th, we will probably run from the 19th
into the second.
Into the second.
Okay, that is all. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope we have learned you some things. And until next time, have good games. Bye.
See you.